Who's Toby?
Hey guys, Terrell here, and I'm here with the cast of the Disappearance of Toby Blackwood. Have Joe and Doug here. How you guys doing today?
Hey, good man.
Good, good. Thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you made the time to come out and do this interview with me because I couldn't stop laughing this entire movie. I think
Oh
when I
yeah.
first saw this trailer, I'm like, what am I watching? And then I was like, and then I got into it and I got invested into this entire journey. What I guess like in the writers' room, all this, what brought you to the idea of like wanting to do this movie and frame it like the way it was?
Doug, do you want to take this, or you want me to?
Sure. So basically, we started writing it. I mean, this was late April of 2020 when things were
Mhm.
crazy and lockdown is pretty fresh. And our editor, who's brilliant, Dan Riddle, he came to Joe and was like, "Hey, I think we could kind of cheat the system and create a feature for pretty cheap if we can find a concept that that doesn't box in the audience too much as far as a Zoom movie could go, and which we don't really categorize ours even as a Zoom movie, I hope. But
No, there was definitely some 4K cameras rolling because some
yeah,
of us
yeah,
you
exactly.
can't do
And
that on the iPhone.
so yeah, so we kind of pitched 10 to 15 concepts to each other, um, so that the audience didn't feel boxed in. Kind of went through it as quickly as possible because oddly enough, we thought, oh, what if this pandemic is over in like 4 months? We're not going to have these actors, and Dan's going to go back to work. So we jumped into writing and kind of wrote the script as quick as we could, and jumped into filming as quick as we could to get this movie going.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, we the that's we wanted to make the world. We wanted to open up the world as much as we could, and because it largely does take place in two apartments.
Right.
But yeah, as Doug said, we didn't want to do a movie strictly over Zoom and all on iPhones. We felt that would get a little claustrophobic at after a certain point, and we didn't know that if those would have the best shelf life. There's some really cool films that were done that way, like horror films, but we wanted to see if there was a way we could safely film this with movie cameras, and which vastly reduced our crew size. And most of the time, it was just myself, my wife Katie Middleton, who was a producer on the film, and then it was just us two and Grant Harvey's apartment, who plays Luke. But prior to shooting what we call like the real part of the movie, we shot all of Toby's videos in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Doug and his wife Flynn Fletcher, who was a producer on the film, they were kind of holed up there during I guess the early part of the quarantine.
Right.
They were only going to be there for a couple weeks and ended up staying there for a long time. So
Yeah.
Katie and I, my wife, drove out there, and we had the intention on filming, like, I don't know, like 20 YouTube videos, and ended up shooting probably close to 40. Several of those didn't end up in the movie, but that was kind of like a nice little a good way to begin the movie, to get a feel for this character, and then start shooting the more movie camera stuff. So sorry, that was a long-winded answer to your
No,
question.
that was perfect. I, I really appreciate the way you guys did this because like when you think about the pandemic, man, it just gets so depressing. And like even
Yeah,
even in media, like you don't want to see it in fictional media. You know what I mean?
sure,
Like you
sure.
just you just kind of want to act like it didn't happen. And a lot of TV shows, like you see characters with masks on, and it's like I'm not watching this show to be reminded of the pandemic. I want to get away from that. But you guys did it in a fun way and made it funny and I love the rules that you established. Like these characters didn't leave their house because at any point, I mean, there was nothing stopping them from just going over there and checking it out themselves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
But you guys made living through the pandemic or that part of the pandemic fun, and I really appreciate bringing that lighthearted because it doesn't always got to be serious all the time. You know what I mean?
no, no,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
partially
Appreciate
why
the
we
kind
landed on.
words. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's partially why we land on the concept. At that time, we decided let's go comedy because some of the concepts were a little bit more dramatic, but
right.
there was enough darkness during that time. Let's make some people laugh, you know. So we had some fun.
I wish I would have got a little bit more of Wes's divorce, because I was also interested in that story too. And then you just found out, by the end of the movie, what happens, and it's like, all right, I guess that was the end of that arc there. And but also showing like that supportive network of friends that, that were checking in on the character, and even though you just didn't care to be bothered by it, your character is completely consumed with this guy that he hasn't seen in 20 years. I feel like that was a lot of people. That was a realistic approach to a lot of people, because people were checking in on people they didn't care about since elementary, middle school, and now everybody's friends and everybody's got new job opportunities. But it was a really, really, really great way to show that. Let's talk about the amazing cast here. Like everybody does an amazing job. Of course, Grant and you, Joe, man, you guys the stars of the show. And Doug, man, I I feel like you needed just a little bit more time for me. I feel like I was cheated out of the title characters. I feel like I needed a little bit more time. I needed to see how crazy your character would get. And like you said, you shot like 40 plus, YouTube videos. I could imagine. I mean, the drinking urine thing, I just took me out of it.
Why?
and of course, as soon as I finished watching this, I went down a rabbit hole of like conspiracy theories on YouTube, and how quickly people were just like losing their minds and during the pandemic, and just the whole Area 51, the raid of Area 51, and everything that never happened. And I feel like that I'm not sure if that idea kind of popped in, because I feel like at that time the world was pretty much feeding you ideas at that point. Like you didn't even have to write anything.
Right. We just studied up on current events.
Right. So I mean, obviously you guys got a bunch of other celebrity cameos in the show. How'd you manage to, I guess, manage that? Like, because I mean, everybody kind of chimes in, gets their 2 to 5 minutes in, and get out. Like you said, in a movie that's supposed to be low budget, I can assume that was the majority of the budget right there, like getting cameos.
Well, I mean, they all worked for very friendly rates. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say that, but they were all so cool and just wanted to be a part of this thing, and trying to, they appreciated us taking on this like ambitious project, and we're just wanted to help in any way they could, and it was, we were flattered by that and kind of blown away at times, but we had the luxury of most people being out of work, so we were just kind of,
and everyone that joined in, they just wanted to, they thought this was a cool concept, and they wanted to donate their time during such a horrible time. They thought it was a unique project, so that we were very lucky. Everybody that was a part of it was just so sweet and helpful, so that was very cool. Sorry, I cut you off, Jeff.
Yeah, Doug, man. Again, your character Toby. I'm assuming you had free range on how crazy you wanted this to be. Like, when it came to the writers' room, like you had a lot of influence on how crazy Toby was going to be. I mean, we're talking the tripwires, the guns, the flamethrowers, the urine, whatever stuff like that. How much of your input went into the Toby Blackwood character?
I mean, a lot of that was based on real people that are out there and
right.
watching crazy people on YouTube that aren't trying to be funny, but to us it was funny, and so we just kind of made a tongue-in-cheek character out of a conglomerate. We just wrapped it all into put it all into a big pot, and Toby's what came out, for better or worse at times.
But we tried to strike a balance with this guy. Like, we didn't want him to be like crazy extremist, like
right.
There is some silliness to the guy. And again, at the end of the day, we wanted to make a comedy. So we thought, poking fun at some of these conspiracy theories with this guy being silly, and Doug just sinking his teeth into that role. He had to have his hair like that for a long time. We had to make sure we had it all in the can, and I think he had to have that hair for close to a year. So.
Yep, sure.
I mean, you guys have made these characters so interesting enough that I want to see more. I want to see, like, obviously, like, not like a trilogy, but just like different movies and how they how they kind of get into these situations overall outside of the pandemic. Okay, we got this one where they dealt with this, and I kind of want to see them just go through like a whole detective agency, just track people down type thing. And just the guy that was the PI, I definitely want to see more of that.
Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that. There was we were at I think it was the Phoenix Film Festival, and one of the audience was when we were having the Q&A, they were like, are we going to see the origin story of Gilbert Muldoon, the PI? And that just made us laugh. And like, what's this guy, what was he up to before this? But we also, I don't know, we haven't really talked at great length about expanding on these characters, but there's the idea of like, where is Muldoon now? Is he stuck in the Denver airport? Are we gonna like, where is he and what's going on with him? So, but there's definitely something that we haven't ruled out. Continuing to work with the story around these characters.
Right. I mean, I'm always interested in the production side of these things. I mean, you said this at this point, this movie is 3 years ago for you guys when you filmed this. I mean, what was the length of time like filming? Was it a few months for you? If you you got this done in like less than a few weeks, or?
Terrell, we thought we'd have it done quick, but we were sorely mistaken. But we started, I think, shooting the Toby YouTube videos probably in
late May of 2020.
late June 2020, and probably took us till early June, July, and then my wife and I came back to Los Angeles and started filming the movie camera stuff probably around mid-July 2020, and then off and on. We tried to shoot as much of my coverage as we could first before going into Grant's house. So it made it a little Grant being the character Luke. So it made it a little hard training. What's that, Doug?
Would you say a year maybe?
I would say probably took us till about December of 2020, and then we had to do maybe one pickup shot in like July of 21. So probably close to 6 months.
Oh wow!
On and off, not straight through, but just kind of as we went along, we're like, all right, we need this piece, and it was kind of sort of finding it in the edit as you went along. And Dan Riddle was just super patient in that regard, and just so resilient to just stick with us and help us see the light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, it took on and off about 6 months, I would say. Sure. So it was quite an undertaking, and a lot more than we thought, because you basically were shooting two sides to every scene, because no one's in the same room. So it's going to take twice as long. But it was a luxury we've never had in the past. Dan owned the camera we shot it on and the lenses. And, I had made some short films in the past. And when you're making a short, you rent a nice camera and these lenses, and you've got a very short amount of time to finish the production, shooting. And if you don't get a certain thing, you might not get a chance to do a pickup shot. But with this, it was kind of a blessing and a curse, where like we had so much time to get the material that we hope to get. So we did a lot of reshoots, but it was a long process.
Man, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you're talking 2020. I mean, a lot of people were probably just really appreciative that they had a job. You know what I mean? They was eating that year, because everybody was on edge. Especially for people that in your profession, acting. It was like, is this even going to be a thing in the next year? Like, a movie's even going to be viable anymore? Everything's just going to be VOD. Like, what? But you guys got it done, and I guess that's really, really incredible, man. Especially just not knowing, like you said, you were able to do a movie where you guys were not in the same room. So I can imagine, just editing wise, that just being the most torturous thing in the world. Because oh man,
yeah, it's a testament to how good of an editor our friend Dan Riddle is. We gave him so much material, and he had to find certain performances, from, I mean, all the main group of Zoom friends, it's Ashley Spiller's, R.J. Smith, Eddie Alfano, and Annie Karsten's, their characters. None of them even met. They were all filmed independently of one another, and I was reading with them over Zoom.
Right.
So Dan would have to find these performances, build the Zoom together as if they're all talking to each other. But, you know, and we wanted to shoot it in order as much as we could, but it just certain limitations didn't allow for that.
Right.
But yeah, very much our characters mirrored the madness that we were experiencing ourselves. So, you know, going through the similar challenges, changes, and distractions during a time that, you know, the whole world was kind of shut down and these conspiracy theories were running rampant. So Doug and I just tried to tap into that as best we could.
All right. What's next for you guys? What's next on the list? What should we be looking out for?
Well, it's still in script format, but we're hoping to do a lower budget, you know, well, significantly bigger budget than this movie, but a script. It's a dark comedy. It's basically, I guess, a comp would be the Green Room meets the Burbs. So I don't know if Doug, we're still like in the middle of Act 2 right now. So we don't
actually
have
had to take a break from the script for a while just to make sure this film was on track. So
yeah,
we're diving back in now. So we're excited, but a dark comedy that may or may not involve some murderous hippies.
Oh man. There you got me. So I guess my last question here, and this is for you, Doug. Does your character, I mean, we talk about it, but is your character going to have a leg going forward or what? I mean, we talking 4 or 5 days.
I think he's just got that little prosthetic leg, and but he seems like the type of guy that would probably lose that pretty quickly and then build his own, you know, and
oh my goodness,
it would probably get worse and worse because he probably pretty commonly lose it, so he'd probably have to improvise quite a bit.
But yeah, it's in the bonus scene during the credits. You can kind of vaguely make out a wooden peg leg.
Yeah, good eye, by the way. Not everybody can.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did.
I guess
he said he was going to be okay. That's why I had to ask when I talked to him if it's there. Glad I really appreciate you guys for doing this with me. It was great responses. I loved it. I feel like, you know, it's definitely going to be a movie that I share with my friends. Like, you got to watch this. This is like, you know,
man, thank you.
Just where can the folks find your movie at now?
Oh, thank you so much for the kind words, Terrell. I appreciate it. We both do. Psyched that you enjoyed it, and thanks for spreading the word. The Disappearance of Toby Blackwood is out on video on demand on pretty much all streaming platforms: iTunes, Apple TV, Amazon Prime, Vudu. Among many others, but it's out there in the world to rent or buy.
Yes, check it out, guys. You're gonna go down the rabbit hole as I did, and you will not stop watching this till you get to the end. Hilarious. So you might even get a urine filtration system. Yes. Apparently, you bought like 5 of those, but
what a teaser.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you for doing this interview with me.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate it.
See you.
See you later.